Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, let's dive right into this because we have a seriously wild one today. We're unpacking a vivid, terrifying, and honestly kind of hilarious corporate picture of the future. We're looking at a mega corporation called Nuke Power. And get this, they use upbeat 90s infomercial language to sell absolute dystopian radioactive horrors as convenient lifestyle upgrades. We're talking about infomercial style living sold at low cost by your property today, featuring Nuke consumer products fixing yesterday's problems today. Literally, that is their whole vibe. So picture this classic pitch. Are you worried about the invisible dangers lurking on your kitchen counters? Tired of wiping, scrubbing, and spraying down everyday surfaces just to keep your family safe from common household germs? If you're reading that in your head with the energetic, loud voice of a late-night TV host, you are perfectly primed for the Nuke Power universe. It's a classic hook that pulls you straight into a world where extreme, literal danger is packaged as the ultimate domestic convenience. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the Nuke Consumer Revolution. Now, Nuke Power introduces its first massive marvel, brought to you in partnership with the United Fruit Logistics Syndicate. It's called the Gamma Shield Clean Build option, and apparently it's now standard in all premium vinyl-sided cookie-cutter developments. The pitch sets up this brilliant contrast. Think about the mundane everyday chore of buying bleach and scrubbing your house. Now compare that to Nuke Power's extreme alternative. Why clean when your drywall can actively project an ultra-modern, microscopic thermal decay field right through your living room? They're basically leveraging the nearby Nuke University research baseline to vaporize microbes before they even settle. It's insane. And man, they absolutely do not hold back on their promises. The pitch confidently claims this invisible background glow eradicates 99.9% of germs. They even go as far as to state it's certified by the Nuke University Wellness Tribunal to kill 99.9% of all COVID-related problems. Their logic? Well, it's actually pretty bulletproof in a twisted way. When your entire cellular structure is completely altered by a localized thermal decay field, a pesky respiratory anomaly is the absolute last thing you're ever going to have to worry about. They pitch this not as a biohazard, but as a total hygiene revolution. But wait, what? Let's take a closer look at the fine print here, because the disclaimers hidden at the bottom of this structural self-sanitization pitch are horrifying. It notes that long-term exposure to gamma shield surfaces may cause mild genetic drift, localized dental shifting, or the unexpected birth of conjoined ascis. Oh, and Nuke Real Estate takes zero responsibility for property devaluation caused by the sudden visibility of the underlying 1961 impact crater. Basically, keep your home clean, they say. Keep your baseline at zero. Moving right along to Section 2, fallout-free beauty routines. Because really, why stop at your kitchen counters when you can optimize your own biology, right? Here we see the ridiculous escalation of convenience with Fallout-Free Smooth, which is a revolutionary isotopic cream. Instead of dealing with daily shaving, razor burn, and spending a fortune on expensive cartridges, this product asks a bold question. Why fight biology when you can isotope it? It uses the localized regional baseline to target your hair roots with precision thermal decay. The promise? Zero maintenance and an elite, aerodynamic high-gloss plastic finish. You can't make this up. To actually sell this, they highlight a totally unhinged testimonial from a so-called happy local consumer. This person points out that their hair started thinning anyway after the utility company expanded a 15-foot easement through their backyard. But rather than worry about it, they just leaned in. Now they're completely maintenance-free, boasting about how their skin has a, quote, beautiful, natural nightlight quality. It is a perfect, biting satirical jab at consumer complacency. Now, of course, there are warnings, proudly approved by the Nuke University Aesthetic Bureau. Consumers are strongly advised not to use the product near open well water, while pregnant, or, and this is definitely the kicker, if they still possess a functioning sense of touch. Yeah, you heard that right. Plus, the manufacturer is not liable for spontaneous epidermal luminescence, fingernail shedding, or unexpected cellular synergy. The corporate mantra? Love the look, trust the grid. Okay, that brings us to Section 3, Miracle Water and Visual Cessation. So what happens if this dystopian landscape is just too depressing to look at? What if you're completely exhausted by seeing the systemic BS of everyday life or looking at the actual cracks in the foundation of your cookie-cutter home? Enter Reverend Ned's Norman Chernobyl Miracle Spring Water. The key feature of this heavily mineralized, slightly warm tap water, which is tapped right from beneath the research reactor, by the way, is 100% guaranteed visual cessation. It targets your optic nerve with instant thermal decay precision. Within 20 minutes, the grim reality of a corporate-captured world literally fades into a peaceful, permanent violet static. You get total peace of mind through total macular degeneration, all for just $49.99. The pitch features this televangelist staring right into the lens with wildly dilated eyes, delivering an incredible quote. He's praising the complete loss of his vision as a holy, isotopic glow, claiming it helps him see the corporate framework clearer, simply by blinding him entirely. It's such a razor-sharp critique of willful ignorance that is literally packaged and sold as enlightenment. And the disclaimers for this water? Truly bizarre. The spring water is an official asset of the Piedmont Fruit Distribution Cartel. Side effects include spontaneous cataracts, retinal peeling, and localized cranial humming. But the funniest and definitely the darkest part is the remedy. If you experience a sudden return of your vision, or you start perceiving 1961 military radar logs, you are instructed to immediately flush your eyes with United Fruit Company banana puree. I mean, just drink the water and embrace the dark, guys. Which leads us to Section 4, Enforcing Corporate Compliance. Nuke Power now shifts gears to address a very pesky household problem. What exactly happens when your home Geiger counter starts making an irritating, frantic clicking sound while you're just trying to enjoy dinner in your breakfast nook? Well, they assure you the problem isn't the radioactive environment. Oh no, it's your machine's attitude. To fix this quote-unquote negativity, citizens are told to attend the annual Reset to Zero safety drive. The steps for this recalibration are a blatantly absurd procedural cover-up. First, you bring the device to the clinic. Then, technicians apply a small piece of electrical tape right over the warning light and use patented technology to simply remove the internal speaker clip. The result? You get to experience the peaceful, uninterrupted silence of total compliance. The really crucial point here is how they dress this entire thing up in fancy corporate buzzwords. They call this process dynamic baseline suppression. It's an algorithm that forces a jumping needle from evacuate immediately down to a calm, patriotic flatline zero. They enforce this blissful ignorance with a brilliantly terrifying slogan. A clicking counter is a lying counter. If you can't measure it, it isn't there. But as you might guess, participation isn't exactly voluntary. We definitely need to impartially note the severe threats for non-compliance outlined in this recalibration process. It is completely mandatory under the Nuke County Real Estate Build-Out Accord. Refusing to submit your measuring device can result in the immediate revocation of your property deeds, a localized utility surge sent straight to your smart meter, or an unexpected heavy-handed audit by the United Fruit Company Logistics Division. So it's essentially forced compliance through overwhelming corporate threat. Finally, we reach Section 5, the Mind Matrix Lifestyle. This section is wild. It explores the deep psychological conditioning sponsored by the Nuke University Sociological Chair. It directly addresses that late-night paranoia citizens might feel when they start to question their perfectly smooth, hyper-hygienic reality. The company actually anticipates this philosophical static and completely pathologizes it. They define questioning your reality as a medical condition called reality descent, and it's classified as a Class 3 zoning violation. Symptoms include things like sudden natural hair growth, the urge to question United Fruit shipping manifests, or the ability to see the cracking foundation of the local dam. The company literally criminalizes the very act of noticing the truth about this corporate-induced evolutionary acceleration. And this brings us right to the core philosophy of the Department of Behavioral Alignment. They assure citizens that whether they actively chose this lifestyle or were genetically forced into it by Gamma Shield subdivisions, it honestly just doesn't matter. Their bold claim is that in a nuke-secured community, preference and programming are the exact same thing. They dismiss the concept of free will entirely, basically asking why you'd split hairs over free will when you clearly don't have any left to split. To drive this home, we get one last testimonial from a smooth, mannequin-eyed suburbanite. They openly admit they used to wonder if the water grid was erasing their identity, but then they realize they look absolutely fantastic in a swimsuit and don't even own a razor anymore. They cheerfully state, "Am I a brainwashed asset holding the bag? Maybe, but I'm 99.9% COVID protected and completely aerodynamic." It perfectly and terrifyingly encapsulates the chilling, smiling acceptance of a totally friction-free, dystopian future. Which brings us to the final thought of our explainer today. The source text asks a direct, super provocative question to the citizens of this world, and by extension, to us as consumers right now. Do you love your hyper-hygienic life because you chose it, or were you designed to crave the bald look? It's a really dark, lingering question buried just beneath that shiny infomercial polish, leaving us to wonder just how much of our own preferences are actually chosen and how much is just programming. Thanks for joining me on this tour into the glow. Keep your baseline clean.